on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7,000 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2. Available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. I've always believed in nutrition and herbs. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Sourced from powerful organic herbs, harvested around the planet, and then concentrated for maximum potency.
I just received my Male Vitality about 3 days ago, and I must say, that is good stuff.
After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic Super Male Vitality formula. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose.
I jump out of bed ready to fight these criminals every day. I look forward to waking up and taking my Super Male Vitality and getting the day started.
It's not just the Super Male Vitality. All the products at InfoWarsLife.com are simply amazing. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality and other powerful products from InfoWars Life.
City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered with the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Or call 1-888-253-3139.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the Resistance. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Ebola, largest health emergency drill in history, underway in New York City. My Fox New York reports. Medications dispensed, bioterror response prepared by regular Army and National Guard. American Ebola patients returning to USA. Atlanta hospital to treat. Trump warns, keep them out. Airports on alert to look for symptoms. Feds to test vaccine on humans. Look out. Stricken doc gives experimental serum to coworker. WHO, that's the World Health Organization, warns virus could spread to other countries. Catastrophic loss of life. 100 plus health workers infected. Europe and Asia on alert. Meanwhile, 92 million plus Americans are not working. That's increased by 11,472,000 CNS News reports since Lord Obama got into office. Mission complete. Cloward and Piven shut the economy down, raise taxes and fines and fees hidden in the market to where the working poor can no longer support themselves and are forced to go on welfare. as a supplement to working. Largest health emergency drill in history underway. The New York City Department of Health will be conducting a massive emergency preparedness drill at 30 facilities across the city on Friday. And we wondered why they were checking with all the cemeteries around the country with those secret documents we got for mass graves, 1 million people per cemetery a few years ago. And we wondered all the body bags and coffins and the rest of it. And again, if you don't know that the globalists are completely capable of releasing weaponized Ebola in the United States or Europe to totally take over, that could be their false flag. And of course, they'll have a cure for themselves. And they've already done thousands of admitted lethal tests on citizens, troops, you name it. I remember 5 years ago, it came out in Bloomberg that they gave 40 homeless people in the Czech Republic an experimental flu vaccine, and more than half of them died. And then it turned out that's probably what actually spread the real flu. But again, I mean, they'll kill homeless people in a big pharma test, but they wouldn't release Ebola. They'd shoot Guatemalans and black people up in this country in a secret program telling it was a vaccine. It was really live microscopic worms. You know it as syphilis. Brain-eating worms. They'd do that, and they'd be, I mean, they're still doing secret experiments on our troops today that kill them. But, hey, they're not suspects to ever be behind Ebola. They wouldn't use that to bring in total control. By the way, Obama signed an executive order. It's up on Infowars.com. And it's definitely tied to Ebola. We should add that to the headline. Obama signs executive order to detain Americans with respiratory illness. We're going to be covering that. And then coming up in the next hour, while all this is happening, our border is the most open border in the world now, because once you get here, you're legalized for at least 3 years to 5 years, and you're given visas and driver's license. And with the driver's license in now 7 states, from Colorado to California, you're allowed to vote with the driver's license, which is a felony, but no one enforces it. Can you see the war-gamed, computerized takeover? This has all been planned out. I don't know if it's going to be a nuke in New York City or Ebola or a dollar collapse or the borders completely collapsing with a whole nother giant wave that makes this one look tiny. What we know is that's already happening. The dollar declining is happening. Starting war with Russia is happening. Turning Al-Qaeda and ISIS loose everywhere is happening. FBI setting up checkpoints and basically federalizing police and just showing up from the East Coast to the West Coast to the Midwest, running martial law drills publicly. It's all moving into high gear. And it's like being in a bullet train that goes 200 miles an hour. It starts off at 5 miles an hour, and then 10 miles an hour, and then 50, and then 100, and then 150, and then 200, and then 250, and you just can't believe how fast it's going. We've had about 75 miles an hour, and there's a lot more to go on the speedometer. I mean, it's just starting to hammer up. It's like being in a high-powered 600 horsepower sports car, and you just can't believe how it's hammering down the highway, going faster and faster. The fastest car I was ever in, I wasn't driving it. Charlie Sheen was driving his 600 horsepower Porsche, and just for about 10 seconds, he hammered it down on the highway, and it was going like 150 miles an hour. Just right off the ramp, boom, 150 miles an hour. Just bam, would have kept going right over 230 miles an hour on the speedometer. And that's the same feeling, is just being pressed back in your seat. And the general public's like, hey, football, hey, baseball, hey, basketball, everything's fine. No, everything's not fine. Again, I've got 3 family members. My great-uncle, we didn't know what was going on at that time. They all lived in the same neighborhood, on the same ranch. But the ranch houses were all built up on the road. My great-uncle got a respiratory thing, went in the hospital, died. Then Peter, my cousin, got it, died at home. My uncle was taking care of him, and then he died. It took him a month to die. And again, I just bring that up because if there's a real Ebola outbreak, you probably won't even know about it. They've had black plague, bubonic plague popping up, record number of cases in places like Colorado. It made the newspapers a month ago or so, just a few times. I mean, TB is spreading everywhere, flesh-eating bacteria, MRSA, all of it, and it's hardly even an issue. And that's my point, is that there it is, 3 more diagnosed with rare plague in Colorado. And they just call it the plague. That's Reuters. ABC News also reports. But notice they spin it now. Possible bubonic plague death in Colorado. They know exactly what the Black Death is. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes to ashes, we all fall down. By the way, we have Gravedigger in the computer. I want to go out with that. John Harmon, I think it's in your computer up there at the network, or it may be in our computer. Or just pull up Gravedigger, whoever wants to do it. Because I want to go out with about 2 minutes of Gravedigger. Gravedigger, when you dig my grave, will you make it shallow so I can feel the rain? Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies, ashes to ashes, we all fall down. Hieronymus Bosch, the German painter, painted that. You say we couldn't see because it was night? Day came back for that. I'm going to stop quoting poetry here, ladies and gentlemen. These are the times that poetry comes to the tongue. Oh, it was dark, but day came back for that. The black sunshine. Ring around the rosy. Ring around the pustule. Pocket full of posies. Ashes to ashes. We all fall down. 500 years ago, they'd have the kids dance in circles and just embrace that the Black Death was coming their way. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies. Ashes to ashes, we all fall down. And the globalists are enamored with the Black Death. That some estimates are killed as much as 40% of Europe, at least a third. Because the Renaissance came out of that, but not because it reduced population, but because it wiped out the elites. And that's what most historians, you dig into it, it shut down the monopolies and the fact that labor was so cheap in the monopolies. And a lot of people in the countryside who were taking herbs survived. This is on record. And so that's why a Renaissance began. Because guilds were allowed to form that weren't controlled by the central groups, and trade began. And then trademarks began, and then the modern age of commerce began. And it would be called tyranny compared to many of the liberties we've enjoyed, but compared to the old tyranny of the Dark Ages, it was a great boon. But the elite, you can read their writings, are obsessed with the Black Plague, and they talk about how wondrous it'll be once a super plague is released, and the vast majority of the world population is reduced down to nothing. And to give you a subconscious acceptance of it, you see countless History Channel, Discovery Channel shows, The World Without People. They cover it in all the big nightly entertainment shows, the comedy late shows. They have the authors on about, let's all be honest, it'd be better with no humans on Earth. We're like rats. We're scum. So that you all believe you're trash, so you all accept you're worthless, and just prepare. 800-259-9231. I want to talk about Ebola, but I want to talk about what's even more important, the real plagues we know are already here of drug-resistant disease. That if you talk about it, that even more of it's pouring in from south of the border where it's completely out of control. You're racist, according to Geraldo Rivera. No, Geraldo, I don't want anybody overusing antibiotics. I don't want our big pharma selling it to the big agra to feed it to pigs, chickens, and cows so then I eat it, and so my immune system's lowered. And I don't want the Latin American poultry and produce coming in that's even worse. It's not because I don't like brown people, Geraldo. I know it must be easy for Geraldo just to say everybody's racist if they don't accept open borders, to actually have to think about it. And Geraldo's smart. He knows he's playing race politics. But Geraldo, if one of your kids gets TB,